I am out in the Sonoran Desert. It is 1:14 in the afternoon, 13:14 for those who use the 24-hour clock, and it's about 94, 95 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is going to be a little bit of a rundown of how I go hiking in the desert Southwest during pretty hot temperatures. So if at all possible, avoid hiking at this time of the day with this heightened level of a temperature, because I just didn't have the time. This is a Friday, I got off early from work and I decided I needed to go out in the nature, and so this is what I have to deal with. But if you are in the situation that I myself am in, you want to come prepared. You wear long sleeves, you wear athletic clothing, nice loose fitting stuff, and bringing tons of water and electrolytes. Electrolytes are actually the biggest thing that's going to help significantly. If you come out and you're hiking and you're exasperating, you're in a high intensity type hike, you need those electrolytes to replenish so your body can continuously function like it ought to when it comes to moving and such. Water, I opt for close to 1.5 gallons to 2 in these circumstances, and I bring snacks as well. What's also good about this is that I have the ability to turn my pants into shorts, which honestly right now is going to be what I'm going to do, because it is feeling rather warm here today. So I don't have that fancy ability than just come in shorts. Really nothing other than that. And I feel like it's just worth noting is know your limits. Don't feel like you have to go all hulkish and do a hike in 100+ degrees. You don't. You really don't. You can opt to do something else. In Arizona, what's really great about in this state is that you go up elevation wise and the temperature drastically decreases. So if you're in the Phoenix Valley area, you can drive about 2 hours and you'll be in cool pines and a lot nicer weather, versus out here in the Sonoran Desert can be triple digits easily. It's definitely up to you. So hope you guys take value away from this, and just happy hiking. Alright, looks like it's going across an old railroad. Here we go. Arizona Trail, Whitford Canyon, getting after it. Here we have what is called the jojoba, which is a native desert species. In bloom, it produces nuts that are quite delectable. Right now it's starting to produce some right here. We can see it's not quite ripe, but rather tasty, almost like an almond. That one right here actually looks like it's ready. Yeah, and it has the appearance of an almond too. So, wild edible here. See how it tastes. Gotta crack it open. So you can see the inside of it. How's that nut taste? Natives used to eat these all the time. You can see there's quite a few of them down in this gully that we're approaching. So, wild desert edible. So here we have is a water line that is probably used by farmers and ranchers. It's following this wash, which gotta check and confirm later in editing, but this might be the Queen Creek, which the name of the city Queen Creek is named after. Comes all the way up from in those mountains. If if this is what I think it is. It flows all the way down southwest towards the city of Queen Creek. Now, as you can tell, it's dry as a bone, but during the times where there's a lot of water and the water table is high, this would carry water through. This line that's being run here is probably attached to a well or a spring source so that the water can continuously be pumped to who knows. Going off the assumption that there's probably going to be landowners, you know, cattle ranchers or farmers down in the valley, but yeah, it's not a big old snake, so that's good. Some real high voltage here, if you can hear it. Got these transmission lines running all the way through the state. Looks like we have some facies of some kind. Scat. I can't figure out exactly what that is. I'm gonna maybe assume that it's coyote. Kind of has that doggish look to it, so I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm gonna confirm when I edit the video and tell you what it is. So out there in the distance is a rock formation known as Apache Leap, which is just a cliff formed of some sandstone, rhyolite, but its name comes from a tale of when some Apache warriors were being chased by United States Army cavalry, and this was during the Indian Wars of the late 19th century, that they were surrounded. The Apache warriors were surrounded, and that they leapt to their death from that very cliff there. On top of that cliff, and in the plateau that's started by that cliff, is an area known as Oak Flats, which, if you're paying attention to anything on the news lately, is a very hot and contested area because it is home to the largest known copper deposit in either the world or the continental or North America, I should say. So, but the contention with that is it also is a sacred ground for the San Carlos Apache tribe, and has been in legal contestment for several decades now, about 2 or so, to get the mine opened up by Resolution Copper. So far it has begun operations, I think, and so there's still contention going about. Some other noteworthy rock formations around the area is this here mountain, so Picket Post Mountain. It was a great sign for the United States Army cavalry during these Indian Wars. Colonel Boyce Thompson would distinguish these landmarks. This was a very prominent area. It was used as a lookout and an army post during those Indian Wars to spot any potential Apache warriors coming in. And down below, if you can kind of see, is United States Highway 60, which is what connects Phoenix to Globe. And so it's a very busy highway, but this whole area is just teeming with history of the frontier days. So we have more mountains going on in the very distance as part of the Eastern Superstitions. So they are very rich with minerals. Looking around here, we can see all kinds of different types of quartz, which would have been indicating that there are other minerals such as gold deposits, copper as well. This whole area was notorious for producing silver and copper and some gold. There's the main Superstition Mountains that are famous. Flatiron right there out in the distance. Scanning on over, we have this weird, interesting angle of Weaver's Needle, which is Superstitions. Elisha Rivas lived during the late 19th century. He was a noted farmer and somewhat of a recluse, although there's some speculations or some debate about as to the cause or reason why. He never married and never had children. Some think that he was a grumpy old man, but others viewed him as a kind, genuine person. So he would live in those mountains. He had a perennial creek that would supply water to his crops, apple trees and corn and all kinds of vegetables and fruits that he would take from his mountain home there in the creek and sell it to various mining communities such as Superior down below, and also further northeast to Globe and Miami, and even all the way down into Florence and as far away as well. So, yeah, I think that's about it. So Florence, Arizona was where the prison was and still is to this day, and a decent sized settlement. So looks like we're coming on to either leased land or something that involves a gate. So, and it is warm out today. Ooh, my shadow startled me. Yikes. I don't know if I mentioned or not, but it's warm and it's Arizona. So there's some things on the ground I've got to be worried about. So here we are, folks. Found an old homestead. It's titled Barnett Camp. I'll put in more in the description once I'm done editing the specifics of this. I'm gonna just go off and assume that it was, meant to be a homestead for a family probably named Barnett, and they just set up here. There's probably some water that flows in here on occasion. We've got remnants of a mining operation on the distance there, maybe. Can't really tell all that much. I don't think it was really that large of an operation, but I'm gonna go down in the house itself and see what's going on. Oh, here it is, the front entrance. Hello, is anyone home? Man, just imagine at one point or another there's a roof on it, but it's mostly built into these larger boulders. Yeah, do some more research on my part to figure out the specifics of this whole establishment. Definitely late 19th century. Wouldn't say any older, but we have down here a little bit of a creek. Can't really see it all that well, but whenever there would be any rain, it'd come down through here and be able to be supplied on. Probably, again, just going off of assumption that it is, or it was created in order just to house some miners and maybe be a little bit of a rest house between Elisha Rivas's ranch, which is up in the mountains, and down below into Superior and other surrounding areas. So really neat, really cool. After further research, I found out that the Barnett Camp is definitely an old mining site that was associated with mining operations with the Magma Mine in Superior, Arizona, towards the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th century. So they were mainly looking for copper, gold, silver in those areas around. And that one building that I had found, that was just a storehouse, and there's several pieces of the machinery and equipment that I didn't see myself, but were probably in that pit that I pointed out. So a lot of pokey, grabby things. Found really interesting is that there's some sunflower right there. So maybe at one point or another someone brought it along, or it's just naturally occurring. Either way, taking a break in a shady spot and time for some on-trail nutrition. I have this electrolyte packet that I had given to me by some dear friends in Nepal. It's called Relight, and it's the World Health Organization recommended formula. It has 2.6 grams of sodium chloride salt, trisodium citrate dihydrate 2.9 grams, potassium chloride 1.5 grams, dextrose or anhydrous, which is a form of sugar, 13.5 grams. So most of it is in Nepali or Hindi actually, so don't know what else it says other than it's supposed to be good. It has some diagrams and stuff about exact measurement date, but I can't read Nepali. I only can read this one, Jesus. So, and then some quick carbs peach wheelies from the Maverick gas station. We love these because they are cheap, quick sugars. I think it's sweetened with corn syrup. And so, yeah, it's about 100 grams of carbs in this whole pack. It's vital sugars. I'm trying to make up my mind. I think I'm going to go a little bit further on this trail and enjoy the views while I'm out here. It's just great peace, quiet, solitude. It's good stuff. Alright, executive decision. We're moving forward. Oh wow, look at that, look. There's right over there. Fascinating. Anyways, like the dog buddy from up, it's constantly getting distracted. There's just so many cool things out here. So neat. Man, that electrolyte drink and a handful of peach rings really made a difference. Also, resting in the shade for a bit helps as well. So, it's a cool little spot. We'll have to look more into the history of that. I'll promise to provide the details in my editing after. So, but well, that's where we came from. This is where we're gonna go. Well, look what I stumbled upon. A trickle of life within the desert Southwest. Now this might not look like a whole lot to you guys out east where you get rain, but this is the difference between life and death right there. Unreal. Beautiful sunflowers nearby too. Yeah, this is crazy. I know. This is just wild. Now, never ever drink this unfiltered. But if it comes down between you and dying or getting giardia, I'd take the chance with this. So just be mindful. If you have the ability to, boil it. And also try to get it from a somewhat running source of it. Not something that's still, that has all these forms of bacteria in it. So yeah, really freaking cool. Wasn't expecting to see water out here at all. That's a good sign. This little ribbon of life. Water in any circumstances, but especially here, is the way to life. And for centuries is the way in which people traveled all around. So this creek canyon. I'm honestly convinced that this part of the trail is probably, or was used by Elisha Rivas and others who went into the superstitions, into the higher elevations where there's more of abundance of water and steady crop growth. So we're following this along. We're gonna go just a little bit further and then believe it'll be time to turn around. So we have a real good example of how water works here in the desert Southwest. You know, it's got a decent little trickle, nothing too crazy. Then all of a sudden, it seemingly disappears. We don't seem to find it anywhere else, but we know for a fact that further down the creek there's water. So what that means to tell us is that the water table, if we were to dig any deeper down below, we can see the ground's moist. It still has bits of remnants of water from the past. So the water will go down underneath the soil and making the water table. And then when it has ample enough supply, it'll pick back up to be above surface. So, but for the most part, in the desert Southwest, it's just like this. It's just very dry, seasonal water comes and goes, and then in this instance, it sticks around, which is just crazy considering how dry it's been. Back now. Gotten into full Arizona desert hiking mode. Have my cooling towel over my head, got the hat on, and the sun hoodie. I feel like James Franco in 172 Hours, I think is the name of the movie, but where he's just thinking about that ice cold Gatorade he left in his truck when his arm's wedged into a boulder in the slot canyon. That's me. I'm just trucking along thinking about my ice cold Powerade or Gatorade in my truck waiting for me. So that's actually not too bad. It's just with this part of the trail being in direct sunlight that it feels a lot hotter, but we're making strides. We'll be back to the truck in no time. All right. We made it back to the trailhead. Can see the truck. Woo! That one was pretty tough, not gonna lie. It wasn't really difficult with the elevation, it was just the heat. The heat was getting pretty intense. Thank the Lord that I found that little stream, that there was actually water in it. Both ways before crossing the railroad. Yeah. Well, if you guys like this type of stuff, adventurizing and what have you in the middle of the desert, make sure you follow, subscribe, and there'll be tons more to come. God bless.